When you learn how to manage money in your 20s, you have an absolute superpower. Because most people go into their 30s kind of with the hangover of the 20s. Like they've made not so great financial decisions and they're kind of financially hungover in their 30s. And what that means is they're really having to work themselves out of a hole they kind of dug themselves when they didn't really have a lot of wherewithal in their money. In this video, I'm going to walk you through how to manage your money in your 20s to really set you apart. And also, make sure you stick around to the end because I'm going to walk through a few mistakes I made that took me years to dig out. Let's get started. The first thing you want to do when you're managing your money in your 20s is avoid consumer debt. Consumer debt will strangle you, it will suck you in, it'll get you to buy things that you don't need. I remember when I was growing up in my 20s, I had more fishing rods than I could ever use. And you probably have that thing. Maybe you're a shoe person or a clothes person, or you love to collect books and you have so many books that you couldn't read them all in a lifetime. But we all have that thing where we just consume. I want to snap us out of that state and give us a state break. And instead of just consuming, that we are producing. And the less we consume, the more we can produce. The less we consume, the more money we have to produce income. The less we're consumers and buying, the more we can invest and create. And I want to switch us from consumers to producers. So I want you to really avoid that consumer debt, and especially credit card debt, because credit card debt is going to get you at 17 to 20% interest. You're going to pay steep fees, and it's really going to entrench you. And here's how credit cards really work. The reason credit cards added the perks to their card, well, if you spend this, you get $1 for every $100 to Target. And the reason they have those loyalty programs is because they realized when they attached loyalty programs, people spent more money. They realized when they attached airline miles, people felt like when they were buying, they were literally buying a trip to Hawaii. The idea was credit cards knew when they attached loyalty programs to their cards that you spent more money because we feel like now I get airline miles and after I spend $100,000, they'll send me a free hat. Just buy the hat. The truth of the matter is credit card companies aren't stupid. So what they do is they say, I'll give you 6 months, no interest, right? We've all had this. Or a year, no interest. So we get into these zero interest credit cards and we spend as though the bill isn't coming due. And then what happens? All of a sudden they hit you day one, 17 to 18% interest on anything that isn't paid. And you get in this cycle of trying to move this to a 0% card. And it's this dance of our consumer debt. And let me tell you, if you really want to manage your money in your 20s, say no to debt. That is one of the most mature things you could do in your 20s. I wish I would have done that. I did not do that until I was about 29. I started really hammering my debt, but I spent my 20s getting into debt very skillfully. And I want to help you not do that. I want to make sure every time you buy something, ask yourself if you need it and don't buy it if you don't. If you're going to buy a shirt, then set a deal with yourself. You have to sell something in order to do that. Because again, we're trying to not become consumers, but rather producers. I've realized the less I buy, the more I make. And the more I make, the more I can buy. Because the truth is, when my mind is not on get, and it's on produce, all of a sudden, I'm creating opportunities, I'm creating jobs for people, I'm creating real estate deals that pay me every single month. Part of consumer debt is just saying no, but the other part is switching the mindset of not being a consumer to a producer. So I want you to avoid consumer debt altogether throughout your 20s. The second thing is, I want you to start building your credit score. And you can build your credit score with a couple different things. Number one, you can build your credit score with debt, but I would just tell you, don't build it with consumer debt. Build it with investment debt. Buy a house, buy a duplex, build your credit that way. Ask somebody to co-sign. If you don't have enough credit to buy a duplex and live in half or buy it as an investment property, ask one of your parents or friends or somebody who has that or an uncle to co-sign for you. Come on the loan, you make the payments and build your credit so that you can continue to strengthen that score. Strengthening your credit score is a really good thing because it'll help you later on in life buy houses and get debt for real estate, and it's really valuable. So I want to tell you, building your credit score is actually really only happening on the back of debt. It's really the only way to build it is on the back of paying bills that you owe. But I want you to use correct debt. Use debt that make you money versus cost you money. Consumer debt will never pay you back, ever. It'll give you a shirt that you wear twice and leave in your closet. I'm not saying that's everything. I bought a pair of golf clubs 20 years ago and I'm still using them. And so it's not that everything is that way, but a lot of things we buy we don't need. And so what I want to say is, instead of building your credit score with a consumer debt, let's build the credit score with investment debt. Investing in real estate, something that pays us every single month. And I know a lot of people are very anti-debt. I'm anti-consumer debt. I'm a lover of investment debt, because investment debt, I get to leverage cheap money, especially right now, really cheap interest money, and I can really get into much bigger properties. Avoid consumer debt, but welcome investment debt so you can start building your credit score. You want to really see that credit score start going northeast. The third thing you want to do to manage your money well in your 20s is to know your numbers. I'll tell you what, I know people in their 30s, 40s, and 50s that don't know their numbers. Now, you might be like, Mike, what does it mean to know your numbers as a 20-year-old? Knowing your numbers means knowing what does it actually cost for you to survive in a month. How much money do you spend on food? How much money do you spend on your car payment, your phone bill, your internet, your rent, your utilities, all your bills, lay them out and see what you actually have to make a month to pay for all your bills. I know this is a really simple concept, but I haven't talked to too many 20-year-olds that did this, me included, until I was 29. And so I'm telling you, I really want you to get a budget sheet out and really start laying out your expenses so you know how much money you need to survive in a month and where your money's going. Data is our friend here. If you're spending way too much eating out, I want to know that. If I'm spending way too much on groceries, I want to know that. If I'm spending way too much on car insurance that I could shop my car insurance and get the price down, I want to know that. I want to know every single thing about my finances. Ignorance is not bliss when it comes to this. Ignorance is rarely bliss, but ignorance is certainly not blessed with your finances. We want to know where our money's going every single month, how much we need to make, and how much we can have for investments. So again, to manage your money well, you gotta know where it's going. If you're in your 20s, you probably hang out with people in their 20s. If you do us a favor, please share this video with somebody that could benefit from managing their money well. Share this with as many people as you can so we can continue to help people become financially free just like you. And the fourth way to manage your money well in your 20s is to create an ER fund. An ER fund is just simply an insurance policy for your money. If an emergency comes up, you have money to pay for it. If you blow out a tire and all of a sudden you realize you have 3 other bad ones and you got to have a whole new set of tires, that's $800, you have an emergency fund to pay for that if you don't have that money in the bank. If you all of a sudden find out that your landlord's moving everybody out of your unit and you had a really good price and your rent's going to take a spike up, you have a buffer there so that it doesn't torpedo you financially. So start off with 3 to 6 months of your monthly expenses into an ER fund. 4 months kind of seems to be the sweet spot. So after you've listed your expenses, you know how much it's going to cost, times that times 4, that's your ER fund. So if it's $3,000 a month, we're going to aim for 12 grand, put it into account, and I just have it there. I don't touch it unless I absolutely have to. And then we can move on and start investing our money. Having an ER fund is a very extremely mature thing to have, and most people in their 20s don't have it. Most people in their 30s, 40s, and 50s don't have it either. But I think it's a really good thing to have to free you up so you don't have to worry about your car breaking down or something happening where you might need a little extra cash that month to make it. And the last thing you can do to manage your money well is to don't pay off school debt too soon. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but here's what I mean. When I had my school debt from coming out of college, instead of paying it off, I had $7,000 in the bank I had saved up. And I had about $20,000 in school debt. Most people would say, take that $7,000, chunk that school debt down to $13,000, and man, you're almost halfway there. What I did was I took that $7,000, I found a 3-unit building in our community, I put that $7,000 down as a down payment, and that building generated $500 a month, and that building paid for my school debt. Because if you have cash, put that in real estate that then can pay that bill, and then when that bill's paid off, it'll just pay you. So a lot of people crush their school debt early, and they take up a lot of cash to do that. Instead, invest that cash, let your investments make that payment. And a power tip about managing your money well is get very comfortable with real estate. There are hardly any millionaires in the country that don't own real estate. Real estate is one of the most powerful investments in the world, and managing your money well is part of having things inside your world and owning things that produce cash for you every month. I talked about not paying school debt off too soon because when I did it, I bought a property and it paid for it. But I had to know real estate to be able to navigate that decision. And for you, I want you to start learning real estate so you can understand the power it has, the money it can create, and the freedom it offers. But I also want to give you a free gift today. I have a free gift to help you bust into real estate. I have a free 60-minute masterclass called the Multifamily Masterclass. And I created that specifically to help people just like you bust into the multifamily real estate game. I really am passionate about helping 10,000 people get a piece of real estate that produces cash every single month. And I want you to be our next success story. Make sure you click the link in the description. I'll see you in the training.